Solar Flash Update, February 6th, 2025. Fake UFO disclosure PSYOP is currently still going on. But we are also experiencing a massive Illuminati exposure which is underway and which is only going to increase significantly. Stay for the whole video because I'm going to go through all of these things. We're going to talk about the UAP whistleblower Jake Barber, how his testimony has been distorted and become disinformation. We're going to talk about a new UAP whistleblower that's making the online circuit, Jason Sands. We're going to talk about the 44 billion US aid money laundering scheme which is being exposed right now. Will that create a scenario where the innocents who are being trafficked, is that going to be revealed? Will the hidden black ops 0-point energy technology be revealed? Will that bring open contact? And what will happen once we have open contact? Hi, this is Mahadev the Thunder Wizard. Welcome back to the channel. If you're new, this is the gathering place for all 5D starseeds and light workers. Please, if you like this channel, go to my go to these live guided interdimensional meditations, which are free, which are every Wednesday and Saturday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time on this channel. If you like what we do, go to thunderwizard.com and subscribe. At the level, if you go to the level above or at interdimensional meditation or above, you will get the free prosperity interdimensional guided meditation. And to check out the rest of those, go to meditations.thunderwizard.com, watch the video there. And if you want to support me directly, you can go to support.thunderwizard.com. All right, let's get back to this. So we're going to be talking about fake UFO disclosure PSYOP, which is still going on, and the massive Illuminati exposure, which we are in the process of experiencing. Okay, so a lot of stuff is happening. It might not feel like it. I mean, I know I'm having the experience where, things have seemed to have calmed down and, other than the interdimensional meditations that we're doing on this channel, things are starting to feel like it's just getting kind of, but that's not what's really happening. There's so many things happening right now that, and again, we get used to it. Remember what happened during all of that? We got used to it. Once it hit, people sort of just got used to it. And so there's all kinds of crazy things that are happening right now, and we just kind of get used to it. That's the way we're built. But make no mistake, there are things happening right now that have never happened before. And we're going to get into some of the things that are happening, and I think the things that could be happening. And the real question is, are we the ones that did it? When we started doing these live guided interdimensional meditations, I got very clear messages from, as you know, I've been communicating directly with higher dimensional beings, higher dimensional extraterrestrials for about 2.5 years now. And as soon as we started doing these meditations, I was getting massive amounts of energy and messages from these beings saying that the meditations that we were doing were having a direct effect on completely shifting reality. In fact, if you look at the August 14th or 15th, if you go on to the live section on my YouTube channel and you look for the August 14th or 15th live guided meditation, that one, and by the way, do it, it's an incredibly powerful meditation. That one, right after we did that, I got messages like crazy. I mean, light beings were showing up and communicating to me that we did it. We beat them. We destroyed them. And I went, what are you talking about? Things look very normal. And they said, watch what's going to happen. And sure enough, within the next couple of days, the man in the red hat, he almost got almost got unalived. And that would have definitely started a civil war. Would have been really horrific. Imagine all the things that have happened since. Imagine all of the things that happened, like the fires and all of that. Imagine that happening under a completely different scenario. It would have just been a cascading event of tragedies and calamities that would have ended up completely destroying. I'm telling you, it would have completely destroyed the United States. And when the United States goes, the rest of the world is going to go. So what's happening with the U.S. now, the rest of the world is going to follow. That's the way it is right now. So we're going to talk about that. But before we do that, let's talk about the fake UAP whistleblowers. So, in order for us to have this new 5D heaven on earth that we're all wanting to have, in order for that to happen, there needs to be complete disclosure on the UFO phenomenon and complete disclosure about the existence of extraterrestrials. And so we've been hearing about this, and I've been very interested about this. Dr. Stephen Greer, who is the only ufologist that I pay any attention to. I don't pay attention to anybody else. And that isn't because I'm a fanboy. It's because, again, I don't teach anything or I don't talk about anything unless I have personally experienced it and I know for a fact because I've proven it with my experience. People leave comments on my channel all the time. Somebody just commented and asked me about draconians. And I said, you've been lied to about it. There is no such race called the draconians. And he goes, what do you mean they don't exist? And it's just, and my response was, so because a bunch of people have told you that they exist, it must be true. People believe whatever they're told. I don't believe anything until I've experienced it first. So the reason why I follow Dr. Greer is because I know that he's had the same experiences I have. Because I can tell. I can tell when somebody talks about it, I can tell immediately whether or not they've had this experience. Because a true experience with higher dimensional beings is unlike anything that anybody has ever imagined or anything we have ever experienced. And this is coming from somebody who spent his whole life in higher esoteric spiritual practices. Even those, the highest, most powerful spiritual practices do not come close to what happens when you interact with a higher dimensional being. Anyway, so I could go off on a tangent, but I'm not going to. All right, so I forgot what I was talking about. Okay, so the reason why this is important is because when there is actual disclosure, what is going to come out with actual disclosure is the nature of actual extraterrestrials, not the ones that you have been fed in popular media, movies, books, even the supposed UAP whistleblowers, the David Grushes and all of them. All that stuff I know is false for two reasons. Because, and I'm going to put a link in here. Please go check it out if you want to see the archive of all of the actual evidence from actual whistleblowers. Over 750 whistleblowers who work and have been a part of the reverse engineering of extraterrestrial spacecraft. Until you've looked at that, you don't know anything. And 99% of the people talking about this stuff don't have any idea what they're doing. Anyway, I'm going off on tangents. So let's talk about Jake Barber. Now he is, if you can just go look these people up. So Jake Barber, he is somebody who is a new whistleblower. This guy is an actual whistleblower. He used to, with a helicopter, he used to move all kinds of things, and sometimes it would be extraterrestrial spacecraft. And so he's talked about his experiences with that. He's talked about his experiences with extraterrestrials that had been shot down and captured. Very sad story, but he's the real thing. Now, does that mean he knows what's going on? No. He only knows what he's experienced. He has conflated actual communication with extraterrestrials with something that the military is doing, which they are called summoning. And that is not friendly communication with extraterrestrials. It is somebody who is using their psychic abilities to go out into space and hijack, steal extraterrestrial craft from them and pull them into our reality. And then they are shot down and taken captive, and the beings inside are taken captive and experimented on. All kinds of horrible things are happening to the extraterrestrials that are taken captive. So let us be clear about something. Again, forgive me for repeating myself, but it's important. You have been told, by the way, again, the fact that the Pentagon, that mainstream media news, and I mean, society in general, Congress, the government, the Defense Department, they all want you to believe in extraterrestrials. That in itself is absolutely unbelievable. It's just mind-boggling that that is going on. In any case, what you are being led to believe is that extraterrestrials are these gray beings and other, beings, and they actually take actual, like these guys, they take actual extraterrestrial beings and they pretend to be them. But these are faked. All of the alien abductions are real. There are people starting with, who are they? 1962, I forget their names. You'll remind me, I'm sure, in the comments. But ever since 1962, human beings have been abducted and experimented on and tortured, and they've been used for breeding purposes and all kinds of horrible things. And they have been led to believe that this has been done by extraterrestrials from a more highly developed technological civilization. And that is a lie. The abductions are real. People are being abducted. They are having an experience that anybody would come away with believing that they had been abducted by extraterrestrials. However, that's not the case. The extraterrestrials are people in costumes. They are robots. They are androids. They are remote controlled, android puppet things. They are frequencies that are pumped into the brain, drugs, all kinds of other things, hypnosis, all kinds of other things that make people believe that they're experiencing something they're not. And I've shared about that. So that is how you know if a whistleblower is an agent of disinformation or if he is an actual whistleblower. And in the case of this first guy, Jake Barber, it's a little of both. He really did experience extraterrestrials. He has had an experience with them. And I know, because I can tell by the way he talks about it, I know immediately within the first few sentences that his exposure to extraterrestrial consciousness was a real thing. But then what's happening is that his information is being conflated and distorted, and he himself doesn't truly understand what the phenomenon is. And so you're ending up thinking that taking over a vehicle and pulling it into the atmosphere and setting it up to be shot down by human, black ops military is somehow CE5, and it's not. CE5 is friendly human-initiated contact. It's not human-initiated hijacking. So that's unfortunate. And his testimony has been repackaged and re-edited, and it has been distorted. And so the end result of his whistleblower scenario, unfortunately, is working in favor of the disinformation. So that's him. There's a new guy. His name is Jason Sands. He is absolutely a disinformation agent. Now, he might be sincere, meaning he might believe what he's saying, but he is, at the very least, unwittingly a disinformation agent for the Black Ops. And the reason I say that is because he has a lot of really crazy experiences. And I'm not, even if I take him at face value, and I think it's very possible that the things he says happened to him have happened to him. But the question is, has what he experienced been extraterrestrial in nature? And the answer is no. And it's no because when you listen to him, he will have very frightening, uncomfortable experiences. He is also getting clearance. He's open about this, that the things that he says he can only say if he has clearance to talk about them. And so I can guarantee you, if somebody has to check to get clearance, and he comes out and is a whistleblower and doesn't end up face down floating in a ditch somewhere, he is an agent of disinformation. I get the feeling from him that he is probably an unknowing agent of disinformation, meaning his experiences with what he believes are extraterrestrials are not extraterrestrials. It's what I just explained. It's the human created stagecraft. And don't take, stagecraft doesn't mean that it's just, smoke and mirrors and somebody in a store-bought costume. It means very, very highly sophisticated technology that has been perfected. And so people like that are test subjects to see how they use it to practice on. And I've talked about that. I've talked about some of the things that Linda Moulton Howe have shared over the years that are clearly disinformation. And clearly people are being experimented on by human beings to see how well they can use extremely advanced technology that you don't know we have in order to replicate this experience so that people actually believe that they were in the presence of an extraterrestrial. So you can go watch that. And this is, by the way, how you know anybody is telling the truth or somebody is an agent of disinformation. If there is fear involved, where you are afraid of these beings, where these beings either look like they're stupid in one way or another, like for instance, this guy, Jason Sands, he talks about, you can look for it. It's on YouTube, and a picture of a strange looking humanoid. And he says that some humanoid in fatigues on a military site, flagged down his vehicle, and then there was this strange interaction. But he was looking for, something to repair his spaceship, and he thought that some guy driving down the road might have, duct tape or something so that he can repair his spaceship. I mean, that kind of ridiculous nonsense. When that happens, it's, these are beings who are supposedly coming from, galaxies hundreds of thousands of light years away. And they're able to do that and navigate here, but for some reason, they need to pull you over and ask for, a paper clip or something so they can fix their spaceship. Whenever that kind of stuff happens, something ain't right. Somebody is not telling the truth. And so what you're looking at here is you're looking at very sophisticated stuff that the Illuminati are experimenting on because they plan on using it on you at some point. And so this gives them plausible deniability because, this is, you can say aliens did it, and you either think he's crazy or you think, well, obviously a being that comes from another civilization that has that technology. So, it's just designed to frighten you and confuse you. Unfortunately, this guy is a disinformation agent. All right, let's talk about the massive government fraud that is being exposed, which is, by the way, where all of the money comes from. People talk about, we're going to talk about little bit about the U.S. aid, $44 billion, but that's nothing. There's something like $1 trillion that disappears every year. Just huge amounts of money. And people, don't know where that goes. Like, I'm telling you where it's going. It's going to these programs that we're talking about. The fake alien abductions, fake alien invasions, fake alien. That's where all this money is going. Trillions of dollars is going to that. And going to technologies, reverse engineering spacecraft, technologies, zero-point energy technologies, energy-directed weapons, weapons used to do all kinds of crazy things to the weather. What do you think? I mean, it snowed in Florida. That kind of stuff. You get a hurricane, and then magically that winter, when you've got people, up in the mountains who got hit with a hurricane and don't have a home and they're living in a tent, all of a sudden they get, a weather that's colder than anything we've seen in years. It's just, these things don't happen by accident. I can't prove any of it. This is just tinfoil hat guy talking here. But, at some point, what is the easiest explanation? What is the easiest explanation? The easiest explanation nowadays is becoming the tinfoil hat explanations. Those used to be really out there. Now that's the easiest way to explain it. All right, so $44 billion in U.S. aid money, laundering scheme exposed. You can just go on to YouTube and start clicking around, and you will hear people talking about it. Millions of dollars, but millions of dollars for nonsense. But in case people don't know, USAID doesn't stand for United States Aid. It is a front group for the CIA, and it is about nation building, which is a euphemism for conquering other nations. And when you look at the stuff that your money is going to, I mean, just even if let's assume that this really is an aid program, that it's that what is it, $44 billion a year is going to help other people in other countries. So let's just assume that that's really what it is. And then you have people on the right now the Democrats are the fascists in the world, and the Democrats are screaming in the streets about Trump getting rid of this. But even if they're right, and U.S. aid feeds people in other countries and houses people in other countries and takes care of health issues, even if all that is true, don't forget, people who lost their homes in Lahaina were given $750. They still can't go onto their home. Many of them are homeless. They don't have insurance. Now, that was a big deal when that happened, but now the Los Angeles fires have happened. The biggest natural disaster in history. Same thing is happening. They're trying to do it. People can't go onto their homes because it's toxic. And once they do that, then, in case you don't know that, if somebody says that land is toxic, right then and there, the federal government can come in and take the land without, legally, without having to do anything. So we haven't seen that yet. Trump is making that difficult for them to do that kind of stuff. But find it interesting that people lost their insurance 6 months before the fires. Was it 70%? That's crazy. That is so coincidental. And so bear in mind, you have people whose houses have been burned down, arguably because, at the very least, because of incompetence. I think it's much more than that. So they have homes that have been completely burned down. That doesn't change the fact that they still have to pay for their mortgage for a house that doesn't exist. They still have to pay. They paid all of that insurance. The insurance companies didn't say, hey, listen, we're going to cancel your insurance. Here's half of it back. You've given us, over 40 years. We're going to give it half back. You don't get any of that money back. If you had taken all of that money that you gave to insurance and put it in some kind of savings account, you'd have it. You'd have tens of thousands of dollars at the very least to be able to put towards something. And so these people in California, got $750. So I'd be interested to know how much $750 is per each of the people that they offered this to, who, by the way, are homeless and have to go online and qualify for it, which means that they might get turned down for $750. All of those people who are supposedly being offered $750 for their homes, $44 billion. If that $44 billion had been sitting in some account for some kind of, aid for Americans, if that $44 billion had been used on the starving children in the United States, if that $44 billion had been used for the homeless, there are people in the United States who are homeless and they have full-time jobs. I know, I've just, as you guys saw, I had to figure out, I was in a bad spot trying to find a place to live. I was in a really bad spot. I'm thankful that I found an owner and I made a personal connection with them. Now, if I had to go through normal channels, I don't even want to think about it. I would have been completely screwed. Now, I'm barely, I'm going from month to month. I'm barely making, being able to pull this off. So I know why there are people that are homeless out there and have full-time jobs. $44 billion. What about all of the people who are being denied coverage for health issues? $44 billion could be given to people who are being denied health coverage because the insurance companies are denying them for all kinds of crazy reasons. That's just U.S. aid. And that's assuming that they're doing what they say. And we're finding out that they're not. Over $70 billion is being given out to other countries. And that doesn't include the hundreds of billions of dollars that have been given to the war in Ukraine. And however many billions of dollars have been given to the war in the Middle East. This is being exposed now. You can't get away with this anymore. And once this, it's like for me, when the red pill moment happened for me, it was when there was just one thing, during the demic, during that, I didn't have a tinfoil hat on at that point. And I heard about an off-label prescription medication that was safer than aspirin, that it was impossible to OD on. And I had heard that it had very good results on and I said, oh, great, I'm going to look into that. And literally within a week, then all of that stuff started coming on about horses and paste and all that kind of stuff. And then people were being blackballed. Physicians were losing their license. It became illegal to get that incredibly safe, incredibly inexpensive, very non-toxic medication. It became impossible to do that. When I saw that, I knew that something was up. And that was just like the wallpaper, just like, just a strip of wallpaper, you peel it and you open it a little bit and you find out there's a whole other room back there. Things you never saw. That was the beginning of my red pill moment. So this is going to be a continuing red pill moment for a lot of people. And it's not going to stop at government waste. It's not even going to stop at, what did I say here? A money laundering scheme. Remember, I don't know if you've heard me say earlier, but what happens when people become president in the United States is that afterwards you get to have a library made for yourself, and then you get to have what's called a foundation. A lot of people have foundations. Bill Gates has a foundation. But presidents, after they've been, done their 4 or 8 years, they get a foundation. Where do you think a lot of their foundation money comes from? USAID, I'm guessing. But what ends up happening is that then you have this money laundering scheme where your foundation goes into other countries, and it just becomes a money laundering scheme for BlackRock and whomever else to come in and do whatever they say they're going to do. And everybody's always worse off. Always. Always. This is going to be exposed. It's going to start an avalanche. Why do you think that Mr. Microsoft is so furious with Doge? Why do you think he's going on to mainstream news and talking about this as a problem? Why do you think there are career politicians in the street talking violence? Something big is up. And it's going to be a lot bigger than people think. Even the people who think they know what's going on, it's going to be a lot bigger than that. I could be wrong. Maybe we'll end up right back where we were, but if it was going to happen, it's going to happen now. This is what it is. So we need to keep doing these meditations to help empower people who are doing this. We're going to find out about the innocents that are being trafficked. When that comes out, there will be no holding back. When the average person finds out that those same people that are behind the money laundering schemes, that it's not just about political corruption, when people find out about that, what's really happening to the question of, where are the children? When that comes out, there's going to be no holding back. I mean, everything's going to come crashing down. And that's just the beginning. It's not going to stop there. So then we're going to learn about the hidden black ops zero-point energy technology that we have. We currently have the technology. We already have, as has been stated publicly by Skunk Works and I don't know who else, the civilian contractors who make all of the weapons and all of the spacecraft and all of that. They've said 30 years ago, 40 years ago, maybe 50 years ago, they said that everything that you see on Star Trek and Star Wars, we've already invented that and beyond. And that wasn't an exaggeration. That was the truth. So all of that exists. And there's going to be zero-point energy technology that will be revealed. Meaning, you can have a box the size of a matchbox that has the ability to power an entire city. Everybody's heating, everybody's cooling. Even more than that. This is a technology that is real. When that comes out, as you've heard me say before, our petroleum-based economy will collapse because everything is based on the idea that you need somebody to provide you with all of your resources. You need somebody to provide you with petroleum or electricity. Same thing. Coal is where the majority of electricity comes from. So if you're able to create your own fuel for your vehicles, create your own heating and cooling for your home, those trillions of dollars in petroleum goes away. It's what the entire economy is based on. There will be no need for money anymore. So That's what's coming. That's part of the avalanche of revelations that are coming. So then will come open contact. Open contact will blow the doors off of consciousness. I know, I've been there. I'm still there. One of the most difficult things about my life is that I walk around with an understanding and a connection and a daily interaction and communication with a whole other higher dimensional consciousness that normally we're separated from. You know, how do I go to the person at the grocery store and talk about, yeah, I was talking to my friend, the 7-foot mantis being from higher dimension. It's very hard to function in the world like that. It's just, you know, if you're doing these meditations, you know what I'm talking about. It's just, you know, how. But once that knowledge becomes common knowledge, I don't know how the third dimension can stay together. I guess now, as you know, I'm hoping, it is my personal hope that there's going to be an ascension event, like a solar flash event. That is my hope. I don't know that that's going to be the case. But if there is going to be something that will kickstart that, it is going to be open contact. Because it will be impossible for the human race to openly interact with higher dimensional extraterrestrial beings and not have the consciousness of the entire world completely blown wide open. There's no way for that not to happen. So again, that's how you know why the fake alien abduction stuff is not accurate. Because when you hear them describe it, even if they talk about things that sound supernatural, things that are fantastical, you know, like telepathic communication or, you know, floating through walls or, you know, stuff like that, that's still third dimensional stuff. I know because I've experienced higher dimensional stuff. Once you've experienced that, you know the difference. The average person doesn't know the difference. So when the average person knows the difference, it's all going to be it's going to be over. So I think what could happen, I'm just realizing this as I'm communicating this to you, is that what could happen is the moment that enough people on the planet are able to shift up to that other reality that I've experienced and been to, and that, you know, we go to every time we do these meditations. When a certain number of people hit that, there's no way for us to stay here in this third dimensional reality. There's no way. So we'll see. Maybe that's what it'll be. Maybe the open contact experience will be what shifts it up. So what happens after open contact is 5D Earth. So listen, I've made a commitment to always be straight with you, to always tell you the truth of my experience. And, you know, as you know, on October 6th of last year, I thought the flash was coming. I thought I was going to get taken off this planet. Obviously, that didn't happen. So things have been rather mundane since then. I mean, it's not that I'm not interacting or getting communications. I am still. I'm still getting communications from my light being friends. I've gotten used to it. So even though it's very bizarre and intense, I get used to it and I shift back and forth, you know, a lot more seamlessly than I used to. And I don't spend time, you know, wondering about if I've lost my mind. I mean, it's pretty obvious that, you know, everything that I've heard from them and, you know, is true. It's obvious that we're seeing it. I mean, again, just the fact that the Defense Department and Congress want to convince you that extraterrestrials exist means that something something's up. That, the level of, that it's not just we live in a world with an imperfect system where there's political corruption, but no, there's an actual, behind the scenes Illuminati that, are in control of all of the media, all of the governments, all of the banks, all of the pharmaceuticals, all of the healthcare, all of the, did I say media already? I mean, when that becomes real, and then that's bad enough, and then you find out that things like Lahaina and Los Angeles and all those kinds of things are orchestrated events, and then you start to realize how psychopathic these people are. And you start to accept that, and that your reality, not just your opinion or theories, but the actual reality that's being presented to you, mirrors that. It's very hard not to believe the things that I've been told now. It's just like, oh, of course. This is why I don't freak out. Like, people are freaking out. Videos are coming up. One video came up of some person had a really frightening video of what they thought was an alien trying to break into their home. Other people, videos of spacecrafts and all kinds of strange stuff. And I yawn through it. I already know that our hidden dark force rulers already have this technology. So that's not a surprise to me. And it's not a surprise to me that there are extraterrestrial beings that come and do things. That doesn't surprise me either. So I can tell which one is which most of the time. Some of the things that people have put up on TikTok, I can't tell if that's ETs or if it's humans faking ETs, because it's kind of in that middle zone. But either one, it doesn't faze me one way or another. I already know that it's a real thing. So what's going to happen when everybody feels like that? Anyway, I kind of forgot what I was talking about. The 5D Earth, we'll look at that for just a moment. So I don't know what 5D Earth is going to be. I don't know how it's going to come about. It's getting clearer to me, I think, how it's going to come about, what it's going to be. But I can tell you that I've been taken, as I've shared with you before. This had to have been back in, might have been July or August of 2022. And light beings who I was speaking to on a regular basis said, we're going to come for you tomorrow. I didn't know what that meant. And I woke up the next day and I went out looking for spaceships on my lawn, and there wasn't any. But sure enough, beings showed up and they said, we're going to take you to the, call it what you want. I don't remember what words came into my head. It wasn't 5D. I don't know what it was, but it was clear that they were taking me to this next ascended Earth. And what ended up happening is that I was hit with an energy that shifted me up to a frequency of unbelievable bliss. It was just amazing that I could walk around in my physical body and have the amount of bliss that was going through me, to feel connected to everything and feel full of unbelievable, the DMT that must have been going through my brain naturally must have been off the charts. And to know that I was connected to everything, and then to be able to modulate it. I had the power to modulate how intense the experience was based on where I focused my thoughts. And then it happened again a second time. This probably a year or so later, beings came to me, and I think it was my Pleiadian friends, and they said, what can we, do you have any requests? And I said, yeah, I want to go to 5D. I was in a place of doubt. I want to know if this is real. And they sort of said, okay. Same thing happened the next day. I was in Australia walking around, in Beach Town, and same kind of experience. I could feel myself connecting to other people. I could modulate my experience. And if everybody that was there that I was surrounded by. If everybody that I was surrounded by had been feeling the same thing, I mean, it would have just been, this unbelievable, beautiful love fest. People would have just been handing, the food vendors would have just been handing food out for free. People would have just been, anyway. So I know this is coming, and I know at least what it's going to feel like. The question is, what is going to set that off? It's the only thing that's missing. So I think it's going to be in this order. I think it's going to be, we're getting this fake disclosure, which is going to peel back real disclosure. The money laundering schemes are going to expose the worldwide Illuminati financial scam behind all of the governments. Then I believe we are going to see, along with that, it's going to reveal the trafficking scheme, which is going to blow people's minds wide open. Then we're going to see because this is all connected. The people who are behind the black ops technology are the same people that are responsible for the question of where are the children. Those are the same people. So when that comes out about where are the children, those people are going to be exposed more than ever. And the connection between that and the 0-point technology, it's all bundled up together. The things that they are protecting the most, the two things that they are protecting the most are the trafficking and the 0-point technology and the UFOs. Those things they are protecting the most. That's the biggest hot button issue that they have. They're okay with minor regime change. They're okay with different political, they know how to manage that. They know how to create, financial things and other kinds of problems and things like that to manage that. But that's when you don't understand what's happening. But when you start to understand what's happening, and then it's gonna reveal those deepest, most vulnerable secrets they don't want you to know. And then there will be no putting that genie back in the bottle. So it's a very dangerous time. These people are very dangerous right now. Anyway, I'm just repeating myself. All right, so that's it. I love you guys. Thank you so much. And, I'm racking my brain to figure out what I can do to help the channel out. I really appreciate we got people here that have been here for a long time, very loyal, faithful people. And, the channel is sputtering. It's having a hard time surviving. So we'll see. I'm doing some interviews, thinking about other things, doing some live events way off in the future. That's not going to happen tomorrow or the next day. So I'm thinking about all that stuff, but something's got to shift for this channel to survive. So I really appreciate all of those of you who support the channel. Of course, those who are doing the live guided meditations, I appreciate that. Those of you who are subscribed, I appreciate that. The apprentices, it's those kinds of things. The apprentices, the the Warrior 90-Day Lightning Qigong, those continued subscriptions is what keeps the channel going. So if you've been sitting on the fence, now's the time. And I know things are tough. Things are tough for everybody. And what else? My books, michaelwilliamdenny.com. So that's it. And we've got the new meditations, right? We've got the meditations.thunderwizard.com. And I'm not overselling this, but a couple of those meditations are the most powerful experiences I've ever had. Ever. The opportunity one, I almost didn't come back. So I encourage you to check those out. You can go to meditations.thunderwizard.com. You can also go to the shop at thunderwizard.com, get them individually. If you want the prosperity meditation for free, then go and subscribe to the interdimensional meditation or above at thunderwizard.com. All right, that's it. I love you guys. Take very good care of yourselves. I'll see you all very soon.